Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatara varisthaya ramakrishnaya te namah. Tam deshikendram paramam pavitram vishwasya palam madhuram yatindram hitaya nrunam naramurtimantam viveka anandam aham namami. This shloka that I recited in the last after Stapakaya Chadarmasya Tam Deshikendram Paramam Pavitram is written by Swami Ramakrishnananda about Swami Vivekananda. There he praises him as the Deshikendra. Deshikendra means the master, the guru, the person who shows the direction. Dish means the direction. So, Deshika means the teacher who shows us the direction, the marga. What is that marga? It is jnana marga, the knowledge. So, the Upanishads are also teaching us about the path of the knowledge. So, as I have been called here again, Maharaj was supposed to take this class. I do not know whether you have those communications, and the people who are coming may not be regular also. So I spoke about the Upanishads in my last class, and I will continue to speak about the Upanishads whenever I am called for. But the thing is that the people who are following or who are coming here and following online classes must ensure that they will follow it in future also. Because many people I hear after doing the last class, people told that many people are interested about knowing about the Upanishads deeply. Many people of you might have read about that. But in our circle of devotees, there are not many takers about the Upanishads compared to the people who follow the Chinmaya mission, Arya Samaj, and this Dayananda Saraswati's Rishi Gurukula and all that, which is in Coimbatore. And also Swami Paramarthananda, who is in Chennai, who was earlier the disciple of Dayananda Saraswati. He is also now a freelancer. I should not say as a freelancer. He is independent. He is doing his own classes. And he has conducted many times the Upanishad classes. Many times. Are you not able to hear? Sound adjustment, you see? Oh, sound they had to increase, so you have to tell us, because they do not know what is happening here. Anyway, so they are all conducting many classes, and many enthusiasts, the foreigners especially, they are coming and learning there. And they are also learning the grammar, which is an essential part to know about the scriptures. So these things are going on, and Swamiji also wanted all of us to study deeply the Upanishads, which gives the freedom from all the bondages, including the religious freedom. In the name of religion, there are many things which happens and which binds us back to the world. But the Upanishads gives each and every soul the complete freedom. This is more important than anything else. This is what I had told in the first class about the introduction and the greatness of the Upanishads, how it traveled from east to west and all that. I just repeat a few of those for a few minutes and then go into the Upanishads. And I would like to take First, the Mundaka Upanishads, which is relatively easier compared to other Upanishads. The Journey of the Upanishads. There is a book called Journey of the Upanishads by Swami Tathagatananda. One must read that, because he takes the journey of the history of the Upanishads, how it traveled from the east to west up to the time of Swami Vivekananda, and thereon from how Swami Vivekananda spread this message of the Upanishad to the west. And in the last class also I told you that as the Buddha had the message to the east, so I have the message to the west. That's what Swami Vivekananda told. So he carried the messages of the Upanishads along with the messages of his master to the west. That all of you know what happened, and how he traveled from the ship from the Bombay port to the America. All that I had briefed you in the last class. So it was in the 16th century. Darashuko was the son of Shah Jahan, the brother of Aurangzeb. He, in the prison, wrote the Persian translations of the Upanishads. Nearly 50 Upanishads he translated into Persian language. Then that Persian language Upanishads in the 17th century, which traveled to the west by a French person, and then it was translated into Latin language by a person called Aquittal. He translated all those things. His name is Aquittal Duperon. And this, he lived like a saint, lived on the penury. And for 40 years he dedicated his life to translate the Upanishads from Persian language to the Latin language. And this translated second, from the Persian to Latin. That Latin, this Paul Dyson and Schopenhauer, one of the great Western philosopher, German philosopher of the early 18th century, he read those things. And they gave that thinking of Upanishadic philosophy to the West. That's why we find in the writings of the Schopenhauer about this asceticism. Asceticism means this kind of living, the people who live on sannyasa, and denial of the self, and the notion of the world as appearances. All these things were the contribution of the Schopenhauer by reading these Upanishads in the West. Then his follower was Nietzsche. Nietzsche was a great philosopher in the Western world. So these people spread the idea of Upanishads already in the West, in one form or the other. Even I had told you that Schopenhauer told, the Upanishads are the solace of my life and will be the solace of my death also. That means to say that what is life he understood through Upanishads, and he understood also there is a life after death. That's what is asked by Nachiketa when he went to Yama. That comes in the Kathopanishad, where Nachiketa asked as the third boon, Eyam prete vichikitsa manishya stite kenayam astiti chaike. What is there beyond death? Is there any life after death? Or we end our life with this? Are we the body? Are we the mind? Or are we beyond this? Are we the consciousness? These are the deeper questions. These deeper questions are asked in the Upanishads. In the Kena Upanishads also, it's a short Upanishads. All the Upanishads, even the Vedas, are in the form of the dialogues between the teacher and the disciple. Teacher answers the question which are asked by the disciple. So the disciple must be a seeker. He should seek the knowledge. What kind of knowledge? How the fan runs, how the speaker works. These are all not the questions that are asked in the Upanishads. The questions asked in the Upanishads are, as Swamiji tells, Swamiji says about Vedas, the search began in the external. Just like science, the man started seeking the answer for various questions, first externally. When he could not get it, then man wanted to get the answers for all the questions and also for the deeper problems of the life. Deeper problems includes the existential problems. So he started seeking those answers from outside the nature. So the outside external physical nature, the travel started into the internal world. All these things happens when people start reading the Upanishads. So in the Kena Upanishads also, Kene shitam patadi preshitam manaha. The person who just sees everything, looks at everything, hears everything, he doesn't feel that there is somebody who is giving the energy through the senses to hear something, to see something. We don't feel like asking these questions, but here in the Kena Upanishad, one person is asking his master that who propels these senses to go out and collect the information and come back and give me the information? Is it just the body, mind, brain, nerves and system complex, or something is there beyond this? So how this question came, then they analyzed the three states of the human being. What are those things? Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Jagrat means we are awake. Hope you are all awake, because this kind of classes, very academic classes, takes you to a sort of snoozing. So that is when we are awake, when our senses are operating and interacting with the world. That is a waking state. That is called Jagrat. Then when we enter into the dream state, as soon as we sleep, we see a lot of dreams. And we think that all those things are real when we are dreaming. And after some time, say somewhere around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, we go into the deep sleep, where there won't be any sort of dreams at all. That is called Sushupti, which is equal to the bliss of the Brahman. That's all. If the time permits, if everything goes okay, all these things comes in the Upanishads. So this is how they analyze. So when I am sleeping, when I have gone into the deep sleep, who sees all these things? Who operates this? So something is there beyond all these things. And all these questions comes through the rational mind. Not the mind which just follows what is told in the scriptures. Especially in the Semitic religion, no one is supposed to ask any question against the Holy Scriptures. But here in our system of philosophy and in our system of Vedas, it is all permitted, provided the rationalism should go with faith. They should not be separated. In our school, I see the children simply question without understanding. They don't digest it, whatever we say. Simply they question. Instead, they raise their hand, they start questioning. So when I take the class to them, I say, first you listen to what I am telling. Then you ask the question. So the kind of disciples who went to their teachers and asked the questions were not those people. They were very serious, and they had also the Shraddha. Shraddha is very important. So the faith and rationalism both must work together to understand the real knowledge of Upanishads. So Swamiji says that the knowledge is nothing but finding the unity in diversity. Especially the Upanishadic knowledge. We see so many things. And behind all these things, is there anything? One, which is guiding, and which is operating, which is making all these things as real. Just like the electricity. This electricity is there everywhere, but we don't see that. What we see is the rotation of the fan. What we get is the sound from the speakers or the light from the bulbs. So behind all these various forms, what we know that there is one thing which is operating everything. So seeking the unity in diversity. That's what in the last class also I had said. Shvetaketu goes to his father, Aruni. Then he says, Vacharambano vikaro namadeyam mrittiketyeva satyam. Just like the pots. There are so many types of pots. You can make the plate out of the mud. Many things the potter makes out of the one thing called clay. So there is a material cause. So that is the Brahman is the material cause of this world. Whether it is only the material cause means the thing which is the raw material get converted into product. To convert that raw material into product, you need a person. Just like a pot cannot be made out of the mud by itself, we need a potter. We call in Kannada Kumbara. So he is required to convert this clay into the pot. In the philosophical term, it is called efficient cause. In our darshana, in our philosophy, it is nimitta upadhana karana. Upadhana means the material. Nimitta means efficient, the person or a machine in today's world, whatever. So these two are required to make something, some cause into the effect. So here in our Upanishadic philosophy, especially in the Advaita, it is called Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. The one thing becomes both the efficient and the material cause. This is how this happens. This jignasa is taught here. So the Swamiji is telling what Upanishads told long back is what the science is doing today. In science today, it is exactly doing the same. That's what Swamiji says. So all these things happened long back, thousands and thousands of years back, and we are reaping the benefit of this teachings very late. Thanks to Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, who brought this knowledge from the forests and caves to the common man, to this common world. So this is what about the introduction, about the greatness of the Upanishads, which is very much was missing. And we have to read the scriptures in original, try to repeat it. So I just want to repeat them, and so that you will become familiar with the original passages of the Upanishads. And then our translations available for the Upanishads. 8 Upanishads book is there by Swami Gambhirananda in 2 volumes that contains all the 8 out of 10 major Upanishads, 8 Upanishads. Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka are very big Upanishads. They are in the separate books. Chandogya Upanishad is translated by Swami Gambhiranandaji itself. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is translated by Swami Madhavanandaji. And for Brahma Sutra also, there are 2-3 translations available. One by Swami Gambhiranandaji and one by Swami Vireshwaranandaji. These are all available in English. In Kannada we have Adidevanandaji's book. It's a word-to-word translation. We do not have the Shankara Bhashya translation in Kannada itself. You people can refer into the Hole Narsipura's Adhyatma Prakashalaya books. the Swami Sachidananda Saraswati has done excellent work for the people, the knowers of Kannada, especially in the Upanishads. Of course, his Kannada is little archaic, but for that, he is a master in that field, and he has done wonderful work. So, the Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka and Brahma Sutra, these three are very much essential to go deeper into the knowledge of Upanishads. Other 8 smaller Upanishads is Ishakena Kanda, Mundaka Mandukya, Shvetashvatara, Aitareya, Prashna, and Taittiriya. These are the 8 Upanishads, and 2 big Upanishads are Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya. There is not much trouble in reading the Bhashya with translation of Shankara for all 8 Upanishads. Only Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya are really tough. And then only you will understand, when you read the Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya, you will really understand what is Upanishad. Not just Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya, you have to read with the Brahma Sutra. So to travel to that stage, there must be an enthusiasm. Without that enthusiasm about knowing the original Upanishads, it will not be possible. We are not asking you to read the whole Vedas, which is the first 1/3/4 part of this Upanishads. Upanishads are also called Vedanta. Vedanta means the end part of Vedas. So I just glanced through the Vedas. Most of the you people will be knowing about it, and you all know that how many Vedas are there? Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda is the 4th Veda, and this Mundaka Upanishad comes in the Atharva Veda itself. Prashna and Mandukya also comes in this Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda is not given much importance because of so many things comes, including the black magic and all. And many of the portions of the Rig Veda also gets repeated, but there are several things which are very, very great and deep, the knowledge you will get from the Atharva Veda. So the Vedas contains many things. Vedas contains many things. In the mantra part of it, especially the Rig Veda. Rig Veda is said to have some 1,000 hymns, and it is all related to so many gods. In the Vedic period, there were so many gods: Indra, Varuda, Agni, and all. The very first the mantra of the Rig Veda starts with Agnimile Purohitam Yagnasya Devam Mritvicham. The Agni is the person who is the last of those brothers of the gods, the youngest. So if you communicate that through the youngest brother, then the elders will accept. Something like that. The concept is something like that. This Agni is the communicator between the man and the God. You know, they're just like the biblical the commandments, that there was a covenant between the gods and the human beings. That comes in the 3rd chapter of the Gita also. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayanta ena paramavapseta. We have to offer something in the name of those gods to the fire. When you offer that Agni will carry those havis with our prayers to those gods. And those gods will fulfill all those things which we want. What we want, the rain, the good harvest, we want the richness, everything is provided by the God, provided you follow that wheel of dharma. All those things are told in the Vedas. So, major part of the Vedas deal with the Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda means this kind of the fire worship, where you will offer the oblations to the particular gods in the way it is described in the Vedas, and they will in turn fulfill all your desires. You may ask for the heaven, that will be fulfilled. You may ask for the Brahmaloka, that will be fulfilled. You may ask for something in this world to enjoy, that will be fulfilled. All those things comes in the Karma Kanda. So that is also told here in the Mundaka Upanishad about Yada Lela Yache Herchi Samidde Havyavahane, where you have to offer all that. Then after that, in the Upanishads, they condemned this karma, which only makes you to fulfill the lower desires. The Upanishads ask us to renounce everything, including the desire for heaven. So, Tyaga is important in the teachings of all the Upanishads. Tyage naike amritattva manashuhu, that's what is told. So, in the Mundaka Upanishads also, the same thing is told. Munda means the shaven head. Shaven headed. So, Mundaka means something which is related to those shaven headed people. So, this is something about the sannyasa itself. So, Yajurveda, coming to Yajurveda is more about all those rituals. It gives more elaborative explanation and also the procedures to do various types of yajna. There are Darsha Purnamasa Yaga, Ishti Yaga, Soma Yaga, Ashwamedha, many yagas, Rajasuya, many yagas are there. Those people who perform, they are called as Vajpayeya, all that. There will be Shrotru, Udgatru, Advaryu. There will be a team of people who perform that. For whom they perform? For the Yajamana, the person who finances that, who has the desire to do that. So there are so many things. With all these things, if you do and fulfill, what for you are fulfilling? Your body, is it permanent? One day you will die. So when these questions are asked themselves, they renounce this karma. Those people rejected the karma at the outset. If you reject the karma at the outset, yadarahareva virajet tadahareva pavarjet. If you get the idea of renouncing this world, I don't want this. I don't want marriage, I don't want money, nothing. I just want to realize myself. They can walk out overnight from the houses. So those who can't do it, first do karma, then purify yourself, chitta shuddhi. From the chitta shuddhi, you will get the eligibility to do the inquiry. That is, inquiry is called jignasa. What is that inquiry? Jignasa about my own self. It is not about some gods or something else, some dogmatism, nothing. It is my own inquiry. I just go into myself and I try to inquire myself. Who am I? Am I this body? Am I this mind? Where I was when I was in deep sleep? All this. I will inquire myself. I will seek the answer. But when you are seeking the answer, you may get misguided. That is why you have to tam desikendram paramam pavitram. Person who has seen that. Seeing means experience that. The person who has experienced that, then that person only can become the master. And without seeking his guidance, if you try to do, you will go into the darker regions only. Because in the root of our life, in our mind, there are so many things which will take you back to this world. So that is why you need a teacher. So this system of giving from the master to the disciple is called Amnaya. Our Vedas are called Amnaya. So without teacher, you should not seek this knowledge. It is not that one is imposing all these things, but it is essential requirement. Without reading the Upanishads, without getting this teaching from the right people, what I am now doing is only I am giving you the introduction. I am telling it verbally from what I have read. But I am not the master. I am only a communicator of this knowledge. You have to go to a person like Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda. They may not be in this body, but they will guide you. They will take you in the right path. You must seek that. You must ask them. They will show you the path. They will show you the path of light. They are called the real teachers. So, this is the path of light. You have to travel from the darkness to the light. That's why in the Shanti mantra it is told, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. We are in the tamas, we are in the darkness, we are in the ignorance. So from the slumber of this ignorance, this Upanishads will take us to these words beyond. But to prepare ourselves, karma is also necessary. But in those days of rituals, they were caught, enmeshed in those rituals, they couldn't come out of it. And it was not doing any good to this world. That is why Krishna brought the idea of yajna into the common work. In the day-to-day work. That is what is told in the Bhagavad Gita. When Arjuna refused to fight, he gave him the highest Upanishadic knowledge. Sarvo Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana. So, at the outset itself, he gives the highest knowledge of Upanishads in the Bhagavad Gita. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, etc., etc. All these are nothing but the idea of Upanishads. After that, he takes him to the path of karma. First gives him the highest knowledge of his self, and then says, no, the renunciation means renounce the fruit of action. Don't renounce the action itself. Let your limbs work. Let your mind work. Let your intellect work. Don't be attached to that. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu padachana. So how to do that karma? He says a buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga upashritya. Buddhi yoga needs elaborate explanation, and so many slokas are there related to Buddhi Yoga. It comes in the second chapter also. He says about Buddhi Yoga in the 18th chapter. This is not the time to tell that. What I am trying to tell you is that yajnartat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. The concept of yajna, the same thing. The idea of sacrifice is there. You sacrifice something to that fire. Through that sacrificing, you get something more. It's a pakka business calculation. I offer these oblations to you gods. You gods give me the boons in multiple times. That is what is there in the Vedas. But here the same thing, the concept of yajna, he is bringing into the common word. What is that? Sacrifice. Only sacrifice. So how a person can become a sannyasi, even in the common word, is told in the 6th chapter in the Gita. Anashrita karma palam karyam karma karotiha sasanyasi cha yogi cha nacha niragnena chakriyaha. The person who is doing the action but do not expect the fruit of action. He will do every action perfectly, sincerely, truthfully. But he won't depend on the results of action. And the results are about to come, he walks away. And during the process of action, he will become detached. That is called asanga. So asanga, karma, phala, anasakti. These two are the real renunciation. Sasanyasi. Yogi cha. Yogi here means karma yogi. Karma yoga, which he had told in the 2nd chapter. Nachaniragnira chakriya. Sannyasins will not touch the fire. They go and beg. They do not cook. So, the person who has renounced the fires, the person who is holding the fire is Gruhastha. The person who has renounced the fire is sannyasi. So, merely sacrificing the fire for the sake of the pains of the limbs is not the real sannyasa. So that is why that kind of the people who has to get ready for the complete renunciation has to prepare themselves in the other ashramas. The ashrama before the sannyasa. That is why in our Vedic methods it is very methodical. Brahmacharya, Garhastya, Vanaprastha, then sannyasa. Up to Garhastya one must perform in obedience to the cycle, the wheel of dharma, and then renounce. It is something like Sri Ramakrishna says, when the daughter-in-law becomes near to her 9 months, then the mother-in-law herself says, no, don't do any work. You take rest. So it becomes ripened. So Sri Ramakrishna also says, he couldn't offer the tarpana because he couldn't close his fingers. So that is called Galita Hasta. The karma should itself follow. We should not simply, tear it from the word. The people themselves must say, now you go and take retirement and go inside. Of course, nowadays the children will do it early. They tell you to go immediately from the home, and that will be more painful. So instead of them telling you to go away from the home, you yourself should be prepared to go away from the home. That is more easier, less painful. Anyway, and this is what is told. So many things are getting mixed up. Anyway, this is what is important. Important thing is, when we are in this world, we must be very powerful. Powerful in the sense that we must not hesitate to do work in the sake of avoiding the pains of the world. Pain will be there. Problems will be there. But to run away from the problems is not the solution. Face the problem and evolve, grow, become more powerful, and become strong to face the miseries of this world. That is Karma Yoga. That is more important before entering into the complete renunciation of the karma. That is why you should not get confused with the idea of Mundaka Upanishads. It's for the people who completely renounce this work. And then they dedicate their life only to the contemplation and the realization of Brahman. That can happen. This reading, contemplating on the Upanishads can also happen for the householders. The householder, when they start reading the Upanishads, they should follow the Upanishads by spirit. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says, Mone, Bone, Kone. Mone means in the mind. Bone means in the forest. Kone means in the corner of the room. When everybody is sleeping, in those days, small houses will be there. Nowadays, you have big rooms and apartments. You have the separate rooms. In those days, people used to sleep together in a single room, in a single mosquito net. All those things were there in those days, and people were very joyful also. But these things are missing in this today's world, because we are going away from our own Atman. Anyway, so when the people are sleeping, you go to the corner and do meditation. Nobody will come to know that you are doing the meditation. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna says. Bane means when you get the weekend, don't go to any parties or any marriages or any upanayanas. Go to the secluded place and do meditation. All these things once we develop. So this is practicing the renunciation in spirit. Slowly. So this reading of the Upanishads and following of the Upanishads can also be done when we are together with our relatives, when we have the commitment, the family commitments. That can happen. But the spirit of those people, of those gruhasthas of the Vedic period, must be followed. They were enthusiastic to do work. They were enthusiastic to do big the yajnas and yagas. They were ready to hoard the money for the sake of giving it to the people. That's why in the Mundaka Upanishad, Shaunako Havai Mahashalaha Vidivat Upasannapa Pracha. This Mahashala, Shankara gives the commentary as Mahagrahastha. Mahagrahastha means the person who has perfectly followed the Vedic Dharma and he has given the dana in bounty during the time of yajnas. So when he became ripened, not by the body, by the mind also, he goes to the Angirasa. So Angirasa, this Upanishads comes as a part of Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda is, in the Atharva Veda, one of the main rishis is Angiras. So Angiras Shabda, Sakaranta Angiras Shabda, which runs as Angira. Atharvas Shabda, Atharva Angirasa. He comes to them. And you must remember, in the Vedas, there will be a rishi. He is called Mantradrashta. Mantradrashta that means what? He has seen the God, which are told in the mantra. You know, the concept of the Shabda Brahma is that the name and the form are inseparable. So what we are getting now is only the Shabda, the Vedic Shabda. But if you really go deeply, intensely practice this particular sukta, say Agni Sukta or something, that God manifests, takes the form and appears before you. This is the science. Nama and Rupa are Abheda. Not what we are doing is taking the name. Now you have, some of you or many of you might have taken the Diksha of Sri Ramakrishna. When you repeat the name of Sri Ramakrishna intensely, he will appear. This is the concept of Veda. So the God can be brought down by the power of mantra. Why? Because the person who has told this mantra, he has seen that God. By seeing that God and getting that inspiration, he has written that. He has not just written like an author like Kalidasa or somebody like that. He is not an author. He don't claim it. That is why the Vedas are called Apaurisheya. No person. And it has not become Uchishta. Uchishta means Enjulu we call in Kannada, no? Vyaso Chishtam Jagat Sarvam. Vyasa has written everything. Even Vedantas also are called Aparavidya. Devidye Veditavye Itihasma Parachaiva Paraja. It comes here. Including Vedanta is all Aparavidya. Second knowledge. Secondary knowledge. Paravidya is the experience of the Brahman. Paravidya is the experience of the God. You experience it. You experience within you, then it is the real knowledge. Then that object itself, when it becomes the knowledge, then that is the knowledge. Other things comes and falls in triputi. That means one person will be there, an object will be there. In between the object and the person, there is some communication called the knowledge. We express it. These things are not there. So these rishis are called mantradrashtas. So Atharva, all those people to whom this Shaunaka went and approached were all mantradrashtas. And in the Rig Veda there are 413 rishis comes. For the 1000 suktas there are 413 rishis. And you must know, among them there were 23 women rishis. People say, no, the women were not given the equality, rights, all the women empowerment is new to this country. It's not so. They were equally treated. Gargi, Vachaknavi, all those people come in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad to argue with the personality like Yajnavalkya. He accepts her questions and answers that. That was there. Some of the famous rishis of the Rigveda were Apala, Indrani, Ghosha, Lopamudra, Vagambruni. Vagambruni wrote the Devi Sukta. Not wrote, she is a mantra drashtri, the drashtri of Devi Sukta. Aham rudre bhir vasubhishcharam yahama aditye ruta vishwade vaihi. This particular is alluded to Durga Devi. Aham mitra varuno va bivarmyaham indragni aham ashvino bha. So, in the Devi Sukta, it is the highest manifestation of Brahman is given there. And all these were the women. So, the women were also accepted as the rishis, as the teachers, to give the highest knowledge. So, this Atharva then starts preaching about the Upanishads. And before that, all the knowledge, all this knowledge of Veda comes from the Supreme Being. I told you, Apaurusheya. The Supreme Being is called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is almost that Brahman, which is a secondary Brahman. Brahman cannot be brought down at all. It is something beyond, it is always pure. But to make this to happen, all these things should happen. So then one step below, that Brahma itself manifests. And that Hiranyagarbha is the first preacher of this Veda. Hiranyagarbha Vedasya Prokta Nanyah Puratana. Though beyond him there is no other teacher. He is the first teacher. And Yajurveda also says, Asya Mahato Nishwasya Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishwatitam Etad Yad Rigvedo Yajurvedo Samavedaha Ityadhiya. So he is the Hiranyagarbha. From the Hiranyagarbha, then comes all these various rishis. And from those rishis, from thousands and thousands of years, this knowledge is imparted to us. Imparted from mouth to mouth. They had not written it until recently. When the Vyasa came only, then all these they got divided into 4 parts. Paila, all those his disciples came and they took Jaimini, Paila, all those Vaishampayana, all the disciples of Vyasa, they took one Veda and they wrote it down, and then the parampara continued. This is what. So we must be very strong. We must be we must work hard to purify, and we must follow the Vedas first, like Shaunaka. And Yajno Danas Tapak Karma Natyajamiti Chapare. In 18th chapter, when Arjuna asks again about the sannyasa, Shri Krishna says, in this spirit, yajna, that is doing the sacrifices, dana, giving the gift, tapas is also a karma. Dhyana is also a karma. So the purest Advaita, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana and all, also doesn't come in the purview of the dhyana. That we will see in the later part of the, when the Upanishads really rolls, we will come to know all that. At the outset, Yajnodana Tapa Natyajam Karyameva Tat. Yajnodanam Tapaschaiva Pavanani Cha Purushaha. It will purify. So you should, even after becoming sannyasi, these things one should not renounce. That's why in one of the Rigveda mantra, Om Edangadashu se Tomagne Bhadram Karishyasi, the person who gives, person who has dana shilata, giving, you will do good. O Agni, you will do good to the people who give. Swamiji, that is why he brought the concept of Atmano Mokshartam, that means Tyaga, for the sake of self. Jagadhita Aicha, giving, one should not renounce. Renounce your own self desires, self-fulfilling things, but do not renounce something which will give something to others. This is the real spirit of Upanishads, not otherwise. That is one thing which we have to remember before going into the Upanishads proper. So some of the famous passages comes in this Upanishads is Satyameva Jayate Nandrutam, all these things. Satyameva Jayate, where it is, you all know? It is under that Ashoka head of the 4 lions. That is our Government of India logo. That is, this Satyameva Jayate is taken from the Mundaka Upanishads. So Satyameva Jayate is the philosophy and religion of Sri Ram Krishna. Truth, holding on to the truth. This is what Sri Ram Krishna tells again and again. If he says that I will go to Yadu Malik house, he has to go in the night. He keeps the step on the gate and comes back. Yadu, I came. So I forgot that I had made up my mind to come to you, but once I say, I should do that. This, to that extent, even for joke, he never used to tell untruth. So Satya is very important, the foundation to realize the truth. To realize the truth, you have to speak truth. That is what. So all these things comes here. So Nayamatma Balahinena Labhyaha. Weak person cannot get the knowledge of Brahman. So become strong. That is why I told elaborately about Shaunaka. People, they were great karma yogis. They were people who were offering everything, whatever possible, to the people. These are all the aspects before we venture into the real knowledge. Again, this is finally comes and concludes with the sannyasa aspect only. Vedanta, you might have all heard. When any sannyasin comes, this particular mantra will be loudly chanted by the people who are around, especially the Brahmins and all who come to welcome a sannyasi. Vedanta vijnana sunishchitartha sannyasa yoga yataya shuddha sattvaha te brahma loke tu paranta kale parat parat parimuchanti sarve. Parat parat para apara. The Upanishad begins about the two divisions of the knowledge. Beyond that they go and become liberated. This is the assurance from the Upanishad that the person who follows this teaching, practices it, definitely becomes liberated. So I will read the Shanti mantra. The structure is that there are 3 chapters, adhyaya we call. Then each chapter has 2 sections. It is called khanda. So 3 adhyaya, prati adhyayadallu 2 khanda. This very short khandas are there. 15 to 20 slokas will be there. And very beautifully narrated, very compact, and it gives the idea. So when I am taking the Upanishads, I will tell about the fundamentals and concepts of the Advaita philosophy also. They all come in the Prakarana Grantha. Prakarana Grantha is the primers to enter into the knowledge of Vedanta. What is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna? What is Maya? All those things, all those definitions are there. There are many books, Vedanta Sara, Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, many books are there. All those things I will not, I will not take too much and disturb you. It will be told in a very as simple manner as possible, which are, conducive to understand the Upanishads. We will take the important part of the Bhashya of the Shankara and also a little translation of it. Not everything, in gist. So in the next class I will tell all the gist of each chapters. Today I will chant the first khanda of the first adhyaya. You just listen. Listening itself elevates your mind. Those who have already familiar with it, you can join me, because here there is no connection. If you sit here, we can get connected. So, but now you can only listen to whatever I say. So, the Shanti mantra for every Upanishad, there will be a Shanti mantra. There are Dasha Shanti mantras, and in addition to that, other Shanti mantras are there. The Shanti mantra for Mundaka Upanishad is Bhadram Karne Bhishruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhirya Jatraha Stirairangai Istushtuvagam Sastanubhi Veshema Deva Hitan Yadayuhu. Our ear should listen to the good things. We should see the good things. Our ear must also become strong, because this whole Upanishads, all the Upanishads comes through the hearing only. Hearing, which should go, and then it should rotate in your brain, and then go inside, and then it should evolve, and it should convert your chitta conducive to receive that nirakara anubhava. It takes a long time to deny this word as Maya, to deny this word as an illusion. It's not so easy. In spite of so much of misery, we do not deny this word. But that is our inherent nature. And really this word doesn't exist. You cannot prove this word is real. Ultimately, it will be proved this word is unreal. But are we experiencing that? It can be experienced by all, because it is our own nature. There is no second nature at all. That is why Brother says, Ditiyadvai bhayam bhavati. So the important, not this shloka, this mantra only is the Shanti mantra everywhere, because here it is so. We had to say that Bhadram Karne Vishrunayama Devaha. Let us hear Upanishads. This Upanishad itself says, Anya Vacha Vimunchata Amrita Sesa Setu. Leave all the rubbish, things, don't talk about it. Anya Vacha Vimunchata. Don't talk anything other than Brahman. This is the connection, this is the bridge to the Amrita, the nectar. This is told here itself. So Pratama Mundaka Pratama Khanda Brahma Devanam Pratamas Sambhabhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sabrahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham Atharvaya Jeshta Putraya Praha Atharvanoyam Pravadeta Brahma Atharvatam Puro Vachangire Brahma Vidyam Sabharadvajaya Satyavahaya Praha Bharadvajongirase Paravaram Shaunako Havai Mahashalaha Angirasam Vidivat Upasanna Papracha Kasminna Bhagavo Vijñate Sarvamidam Vijñatam Bhavatiti Tasmai Sahovacha Dve Vidye Veditavye Itihasva Yad Brahmavido Vadanti Parachaiva Paracha Tatra Pararugvedo Yajurvedas Samavedo Atharvaveda Shiksha Kalpo Vyakaranam Niruktam Chando Jyotishamiti Ataparayaya Tadaksharam Adhigamyate Yattadadreshyam Agrahyam Agotram Avarnam Achakshushrodram Tadapanipadam Nityam Vibhum Sarvagatam Susukshmam Tadavyayam Yadbhutayonim Paripashyanti Dhiraha Yatornana Visrujate Grunhate Cha Yatha Prativyam Oshadayas Sambhavanti Yatha Satah Purushat Keshalomani Tata Aksharat Sambhavati Vishwam Tapasa Chiyate Brahma Taton Nabhijayate Annat Prano Manas Satyam Lokah Karma Sushakilam Yas Sarvagnyas Sarvavite Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha tasmadetat brahma nama rupamannancha jayate iti pratama kandaha. So here in brief, that again the parampara of the gurus, lineage of gurus, Brahma, Hiranyagarbha, he is born first, the protector of the seniors. Gopta means protector. So he gave the Brahma Vidya to Atharva, and Atharva gave it to his son Bharadwaja, Satyavaha, all that. The important thing is that Akshara, Akshara Brahma is told here, who he is Sarvajna, Sarvavit, all-knowing, and Jnanamaya is the Jnana itself, is filled with Jnana. All these things can be seen in the coming classes. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.